Hey, it's Vanessa, the Crafty Gemini, and in this video tutorial, we are talking about things to consider before you choose the zippers for your bag making projects. Now, why are we going to be talking about zippers today? Well, I have hundreds and hundreds of free video tutorials right here on my YouTube channel, and over the past 14 years or so, I have taught millions of people all around the world how to sew and quilt and make all types of craft projects with my step-by-step instructional teaching style, okay? Now, some of the more popular projects on my YouTube channel tend to be smaller items, things that are quicker to make, beginner-friendly projects, and a lot of those projects tend to be small pouches, zippered pouches, little purses, wallets, and that kind of stuff. So in this video, I'm gonna share with you a couple of tips for things that you wanna keep in mind before you select the zippers for your bag making projects. Now, I'll share some tips about craft zippers as well as handbag zippers. Those of you that are already past the beginner stage and maybe are looking to learn a little bit more and elevate your sewing and technique level when it comes to bag making, you'll definitely want to keep watching this video because I have a lot of little tips to share with you. All right, so let's talk zippers, and I'm specifically going to be talking about the three most commonly used types of zippers for bag making projects. So those are going to be a number 3 zipper, which is often called a craft zipper. That's these guys down here. Then we have a number 4.5 zipper or handbag zipper, which is this one here, these two. And then sometimes you'll see a number 5 handbag zipper. So we have a number 3, a number 4.5, and a number 5, and I'll go through and tell you what are the differences between each. But it's important to note that what I'm not including in this video are invisible zippers, and these are zippers that are for garment sewing, and on one side you'll see that you don't see any of the zipper teeth, and that is the pretty side of it, the right side, where the zipper opens but you don't actually see any of the teeth. And when you flip it over, you see the teeth. So sometimes students get confused and they think that the invisible zipper is the same as the craft or the number 3 zipper. And although it looks the same from the underside, notice here the difference that this zipper pull is upside down, whereas here, the side that I can still see the zipper teeth, the pull is on the top side. So don't get these guys confused. This is for a totally different application. So I'll set that aside. So now we're talking number 3, number 4.5, and number 5 zippers. So the first thing I want you to consider is what size zipper does the pattern that you're trying to make call for. Sometimes you'll get a pattern and you're making a little bag or whatever, and it says a number 3 zipper or a craft zipper. That's most often what you're going to see on smaller type of pouch and zippered projects. That's these guys here. All right, so you can search for them under number 3 or craft zippers. Note that the width of the zipper tape is 1 inch from here to here. And then the teeth themselves, that's what the number 3 references. It means that the width of the zipper teeth is about 3 millimeters wide. So that's where the number 3 comes in. So these two, although they're different color and different styles of tape here, they are the same type of zipper. This, what you see here, is called zippers by the yard, where the tape is just by itself. You can get it on a big roll, you can get it by yardage, and then you just have to purchase the zipper pulls either in a kit, depending on where you're getting it from, or separately. Make sure that you're getting the right size for the right zipper tape that you have, and then you would just insert this and install it before you use it in a finished project, okay? The other regular ones come like this, and they have their own zipper pull on them. So a few different styles and ways that you can purchase these, but they are the same. Next up, we have the number 4.5 and the number 5. These are often called handbag zippers, and they will usually include information to which size they are, because at first glance, they might look the same, right? All of these guys. Well, the width of the zipper tape from here to here, remember I said it was 1 inch on the smaller zippers. On these guys, it's 1.25 inches wide, and also the same width on the number 5 zippers. But don't get confused, this is still a different category, and it's because of the zipper teeth. So remember I said here the number 3 references the width of the zipper teeth themselves is 3 millimeters. Well, then this one measures 4.5 millimeters, and this one measures 5 millimeters. So because the zipper teeth are larger on a number 5 zipper, you also need a larger zipper pull in order to go on here, and I'll show you how you can tell that in a second. There's going to be different manufacturers, and it's best to keep track and keep note of where you're getting them from, what size they are, because again, the width is the same. These ones are easier to install, especially if you don't have a zipper foot on your machine, because you have more clearance here for the zipper tape and for your seam allowance. So you can stitch at a 1/4 inch here and you still won't run the risk of getting close to the zipper teeth, so you don't get a crooked seam and things like that. And for those of you that have maybe had that issue in the past, you know what I'm talking about. If you have a zipper foot in your machine, that's going to be the best way to install any of these zippers, okay? Then again, this is a number 4.5, again by the yard. And you can change the pull on them. As long as you have a zipper pull that is the correct size for that tape, you'll see that you can slide it on a cut end and it will open and close well. However, on the number 5, you can see, now that I've talked to you about the width of the zipper teeth themselves, I think on this one, because of the black background, you can see that these teeth are wider than these guys here, okay? So this is the correct zipper pull for this one, a number 5, but if you have a 4.5 handbag zipper, you might go like this and try to slip this on, and you'll see what happens when I'm using a number 5 zipper pull on a number 4.5 tape. Yeah, it'll go on, but it's just way too big. So it's not closing or opening the zipper, it's just on there, but it doesn't work the way a number 4.5 zipper pull does. Can you see that? How that's not a working zipper pull because it's way too big for this tape. So mark your stuff, put a little note, and keep everything organized if you are someone that has a large stash of zippers like I have here. So after you check to see what the pattern calls for, make sure that you're using that zipper. I always recommend my students, at least if you're going the first time through a project, use what the designer intended you to use, because it's going to flow more easily with the instructions and the construction steps. The less you need to troubleshoot as you're working your way through a first time project, the easier the entire project is going to be for you. After you make it once, then go in and start playing around. Do I want to use different color tape, zipper tape? Do I want to change the color of the zipper pull? Do I want to use a wider one for a different look and things like that, okay? But after you have the size down, go ahead and make the project, and usually, you know, if the rest of the steps are pretty clear, you'll be able to get through the project. Now, if you're ready to move on to that second step where you're changing things up, the next thing I want you to keep in mind is what is the look that you are going for in the finish installed zipper. So here I'm going to show you 2 different little zippered bags that I have. And the zipper installation was done slightly different. They're both installed straight, okay? But the difference is on this little mesh pouch, you can see that the fabric on either side is really close to the zipper teeth. Can you see that? So all I'm seeing is the zipper teeth of this white zipper pretty much. On this guy, however, can you see where the zipper teeth are? I have at least a 1/4 inch left of the blue zipper tape. So I can see more of the color of that zipper tape in this one. See the difference there? So this is something that you want to keep in mind for your finished project. What is the look that you're going for? Okay, do you want a lot of that zipper tape to show, or do you want only the teeth to show? Because this can also affect the finished size of whatever that panel or pocket is that you're working on, okay? If I went ahead and used a really scant seam allowance to stitch my zipper in, I could potentially, if the pattern called for me to install the zipper like this, super close to the edge, that means that I'm eating up most of the width of that number 3 craft zipper, okay? If you sew a really scant seam allowance to either side, you're adding height to this front panel. Do you see how that works? Because if the pattern wanted me to stitch right here and I didn't, I've added this much and this much on the other side to the finished size of that panel. So you have to think about those things before you go in and try to match up another panel that maybe gets sewn to this, and then you think, well, hey, I thought I cut my pieces correctly. I know I sewed the zipper on right, but the panels now don't match. And this may be to blame for that, because instead of sewing closer to the zipper teeth, you sewed further up, and now you've added some height or length, depending on which way the zipper was installed, to that panel or pocket, okay? So be very careful with that, because that can sometimes throw a project off. Usually it's not that big of a deal because you can trim things up and make it work. But again, even for just visual purposes, decide how you want your finished installed zipper to look. And then the third thing I would say to definitely analyze before you start selecting your zippers is the application of the zipper. Is it going to be installed in a project straight and flat like these? Okay, or is it going to be installed in a curve shape like this? Now this is an upcoming project. This is my little stand-up pencil pouch. It's going to be in my new mini bag club number 3, and you can see that the zipper runs from here all the way down to the bottom of the other side almost, and it's installed on a curve. Now a lot of beginners would shy away from a project like this because they're thinking there's no way I can install this That might be super tricky, but the zipper that you use for this can also help or make it a little bit harder for you to install. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So here we said these were number 3 craft zippers. This is a YKK zipper, and that's the brand. If you look at the little pull here, YKK, these are probably the most readily found ones, and they're great quality. But the zipper tape on this is polyester. Okay, it's a synthetic. So oftentimes you'll see me cut it and use a lighter to kind of melt down the edges to keep it from fraying, because it is a synthetic fabric. That works. But the zipper tape itself is thicker than the tape on the sides of these ones that I have by the yard. This is more like a thin twill tape. It's not as thick and as rigid as this. So think about something that's a little bit softer and pliable versus something that's a little bit more stiff, and which one you think is going to be harder to work its way around a curve here for sewing. So most people would think that the more rigid one is going to be a little bit harder. However, in my experience, I have found that the thinner, more lightweight zipper tape gives me more trouble because it is lightweight. So on the rigid one, if you've seen any of my videos or signed up for any of my online digital courses where we install zippers in different curves, you'll know that we usually make little slits into the tape to get it to release around a curve, right? Because if you don't make any slits or notches, look what happens. Even just by turning this, trying to get it to go in a curved shape, it starts to ripple and it just pops up out of place because there is no allowable curve built in there. But if we make tiny slits along this area, then I would be more able to turn it like that because it allows the zipper tape itself to expand along that shape, okay? So I find that doing that makes it super easy for me to install any of these zippers in a curve, okay? It could be a number 3 craft zipper, the 4.5 handbags, or even the 5. But again, when the zipper tape is thinner, and these guys are the same, you'll see a couple of things. Depending on how it came, it might have been rolled up like this with a rubber band around it. And because it is a thinner fabric, oftentimes we can get a little kink in there or a bend and a fold. And so my first tip for that is to steam your zipper to get that fabric to relax. This especially happens on these more lightweight fabric zipper tapes. Look how light that is. It's just like a little flimsy kind of tape, okay? But that's also helpful, right? If you're working on a zippered project that features foam interfacing or fusible fleece, multiple layers, making this area be thinner is going to allow it to is going to allow you in your construction steps to reduce the amount of bulk in those thicker seams. So, it's not that any of them have have just pros and cons. It's that you need to assess what you're working with first so that you know what little steps you need to take in order to achieve the best results in your finished project, okay? So if you have this thinner fabric one and it looks almost like a twill tape, I steam it first to release any of these little kinks, like bends like this. I don't want to be fussing with stuff that's curving or bent up as I'm sewing. I want everything to lie nice and flat. It will make it easier for me to position this on the fabric and place my pins or sewing clips. Okay, so first steam it. Second, on these lighter weight ones, I go in and I will pin the tape to whatever area I'm going to be sewing it to and don't make slits until I see, like if it gives me a tough time right around like a steep curve, depending on the project, then I'll go in and make some slight slits. But with the lighter weight one, I try to make it go the full way instead of just like pre-cutting slits into it like I would usually do on a thicker one, okay? So you can definitely still work with both of them, but just assess what you're working with, how thick and thin. If you have a couple different zippers in your stash, kind of feel for them, touch them, and the more projects you make with them, the more this information will come to you. You'll know, okay, this project, I'm going to select this one because it's going to give me less trouble, and that way you can, definitely elevate your sewing skills for all your future projects. All right, so hopefully those are some tips that you can apply in your upcoming zippered bag projects. You can see how cute this one is. This is my stand-up pencil pouch. And so it stands up by itself. You can flip these guys back. You can leave them up and you can fit actually a couple more markers or pens in here, but it all does fold up and it has a flat finish like this. So you can tuck it in a backpack pocket. If you're going to a study group or something, if you're a sketcher, an artist, or you journal, then you can set it up on your workspace, open it up, obviously, and then use your markers and pens from there. So I think this is a really great project, simple enough that confident beginners will be able to tackle it along with us in the video courses, but also enough of a challenge for those of you that are looking for something a little bit more complex to help you elevate your sewing skills. All right, so there you have it. Those are just some of my tips for things to keep in mind when you're selecting zippers for your bag making projects. Now, if you're a beginner and maybe you're new to my channel, definitely hit the subscribe button so you won't miss out on the upcoming videos. And I'll also leave a link below where you can check out my previous mini bag club 1 and 2. And of course, I have hundreds of free tutorials here that will get you up to speed as well. For those of you that are maybe interested in my upcoming mini bag club number 3, which I believe is like the 11th edition of a bag club that I've hosted since 2016. I've been doing this a long time, y'all, and it's going to be so much fun. So if you want more information on that, make sure that you use the link below to add your email to our free email newsletter list. That is the best way to stay in touch with what is going on here at Crafty Gemini. And then, of course, I will be uploading another video very soon with some more details, more tips, and information on how you can join our upcoming mini bag club number 3. So thanks again for watching this video. Give the video a thumbs up if you learned something, and make sure that you subscribe as well so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.